Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Ron Corning with Forward DFW, together with the Dallas Morning News, and we are always excited to be able to shed a light on institutions and charitable organizations that really make a difference in our community. Today, we are focusing our attention on SMU, Southern Methodist University, and a new campaign they have just launched, SMU Ignited, Boldly Shaping Tomorrow. It is a multi-year, $1.5 billion campaign. So how is it shaping tomorrow? Well, it's benefiting not just the students, but also a broader community. How big is that community? Well, it stretches globally, and we will explain how coming up. Brad Cheeves is here. He's SMU Vice President for Development and External Affairs. And Brad, glad to have you here.
Good to be here.
A champion for the university, and rightly so, with so much going on there. And I'm really excited to talk about the evolution of your place in this community. Let's start by the reach of this program, this new program, and how it will impact students who are already attending or wanting to attend SMU.
Well, it really is kind of the third generation of what our maturation is as Dallas's university. When President Turner came in '95, we kicked off a comprehensive campaign that was a very audacious $300 million. And then we kicked off one in '08 that was an audacious $750 million. And now the support base of SMU has grown to an incredible level, not only statewide and locally, but nationally and globally. But it really is about students, faculty, and the programs and the facilities that really make SMU the lighthouse it is for the world.
Let's talk about that, because with more funding comes the ability to build more infrastructure to welcome more students to campus. But in terms of meeting the financial needs of students who might otherwise not be able to afford a college education, what I'm seeing here and what you're doing is pretty forward thinking and progressive, and that is meeting their financial need, but looking beyond that. If a student, for example, has an unfortunate financial crisis in the middle of their college career, you're going to be mindful of that and hone in on that and maybe help them through that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's three priorities in this $1.5 billion campaign. $600 million for faculty quality, which attracts the great students. And then $400 million that is primarily dedicated towards the ambition of scholarships based on need and merit. And there's various ways in which that happens at the undergraduate level and the graduate level. But locally, for Dallas, we have a Mustang Scholars Program, and that's for underrepresented community members of our community who want to be right here in Dallas and don't have what they need to go to college. This program is going to make it possible for them to have their full need met, as well as room and board. And they are students that are the best and brightest of this community.
I know that it's a requirement, is it not, on campus, that for the first 2 years students have to be on campus. We're going to talk a little bit more about the growth of the residential living on campus. But to what degree do you think that experience, having students who live together in dormitories that are diverse in nature, allows them a more, I guess, enriched education beyond the classroom?
Well, it's learning and living. That's what it's about. And we've doubled down on the brick. It's not about just sharing information in an online format, which we have online programs, online MBAs, but we're primarily about people to people. And you see that at the graduate level as well as the undergraduate level. And being able to be on campus for 2 years establishes friendships with an incredible SMU alumni network and allows our students to meet each other. 60% of our incoming class actually comes from outside Texas, 40% inside Texas. So when you stay here to go to school, you're actually going to probably have an opportunity to meet more students nationally than if you go to maybe somewhere else that you might choose.
And in terms of the living experience, and I want to say coming up, we're going to talk to Liz and Bill Armstrong, who are distinguished alumni. They've just gotten that award, and they're going to talk about their commitment to the school. And I'm so curious about where their passion, after so many years of having graduated, where that comes from. I think it speaks to the integrity of the school and the education that you provide, and we'll talk to them coming up. But when you talk about this mixed living situation that you encourage, it used to be conventional wisdom that like-minded people, right, people who had similar interests living in the same place, was an enriching experience. And I think you've gone beyond that and decided that living in silos isn't always the best way to experience the world.
Well, I think that's exactly right. I think what we've been able to do on the campus is bring people together, bring different cultures together, bring different geographical backgrounds and experiences together. And then what they have in common is the SMU experience.
Yeah, I also want to note here, you talked about faculty and making sure that you're attracting great, talented, experienced faculty, but you also allow opportunities for them to have enriching experience, whether it be to take a leave to pursue a research project, or to just get off campus and experience the world and bring that back to students. That's part of this program as well. But I'm curious to know about, as Dallas and DFW as a whole becomes more diverse economically in terms of the kinds of business that move here, how has that changed your experience in forging relationships with new and emerging businesses and technologies so that students who graduate from SMU might actually stay here and work here? Has that changed?
Well, it actually, I think, is being recognized and appreciated. For years, SMU has been a net importer of intellectual capital and talent to Dallas. Many of our leaders over the years in this city, both business and civic and public leaders in the nonprofit arena, have moved here to come to college here, and they see this for the vital city that it is. And that makes such a difference when it comes to being the kind of university we want to be. We're really igniting the future with more resources that give more of the kinds of things that faculty need, more experiences that students need, both locally in terms of internships, partnerships with corporate entities, nonprofits, and others.
And I think that the impression I've gotten from friends of mine who've graduated from SMU 20 years ago, and I actually have college friends of mine whose daughter was just dropped off at SMU last month, and the impression I get is you're sort of that sweet spot school where you are big enough that you have Division I sports, for example, which can be enriching in and of itself, but you're small enough that students are getting that personalized attention, and I think that's sort of been a hallmark of the school.
It has. We're not trying to get bigger. We're trying to get better. And if we grow, it'll probably be more felt in the graduate levels, in the research, as we pursue a Research 1, Tier 1 a designation because of the research that our faculty is doing. That actually is a benefit to the undergraduate level. We're not going to abandon our great tradition of phenomenal teaching. But when you have research going on, you're not just sharing, you're not sharing information. You're actually sharing knowledge that's been created in those labs and in those pursuits of the faculty, scholarly pursuits.
And that sort of checks that box we talked about you're a global citizen. Research that happens there can spread out around the world. And the message of what SMU is, what students can do when they move on, is best shared by those who've experienced it. And we will talk to Liz and Bill Armstrong when we come back here in just a moment. They are distinguished alumni who are spreading the message of SMU and enriching and helping students on campus. We'll be back with that in just a moment. Thank you, Brad. And we are back talking about SMU Ignited, boldly shaping tomorrow, their latest campaign to really solidify their place in this community and globally. And it's a campaign not possible without the support of alumni like Liz and Bill Armstrong, who are co-founders of Armstrong Oil and Gas, and they're joining me now. And I'm going to dig deep into this college sweetheart love story. That's how we're starting this out. Are you okay with that, Liz?
Totally fine.
All right, so you met on campus. Now I'm getting her side of this first. You met on campus what year?
Freshman year, Geology 101.
Geology 101. Both of you on the geology track at that time?
Yeah.
And you were friends first for 3 years.
Yep.
You knew her roommate, sort of, in a way. Yeah, Bill just nods. Yes.
Yes,
This is
he
her
dated
story.
my
I thought it was her story
sweet
then.
And so for 3 years you were friends.
Yeah, had a lot of courses together. You get to know somebody really well when you're doing, field metrology and all these really difficult courses.
Yeah, and so at some point before you graduated, you all became official.
Yeah, so that would be SMU and Taos at Geology Field Camp. Yes, things started to change about that point in time.
Yeah,
So,
and married now 40 years?
we've been together for 40 years. We've been married for 37, I think.
It only feels like 45.
Yeah, it feels like, like I'm quizzing you on how many years you've been married. I don't mean to get you in trouble when you say 36 and she says it's been 37.
You know what? We're going to have our 8th grandchild next month, so that's good enough.
Oh, that's great. 8 grandchildren.
8 grandchildren.
Let's talk about this passion. Obviously, you both had a passion for geology, passion for the school, and now you've formed a business together. What is it like for you this many years later, seeing your work at SMU sort of come to fruition in such a meaningful way? I mean, you have a juggernaut of a company.
Well, first of all, you heard her version of the story. That was the she said. Now, can I say the he said part?
Absolutely.
No, I'm just kidding. No, we did meet geology 101 freshman year, 8 a.m. class, if you can believe that. And we just became great friends, and then there we go. But I studied at SMU, and when we left SMU, it's a cyclical business. Oil and gas business was just in the dumps when I left when I graduated in 1982, and we started our own company in '84. And it was what we call the years of spending dangerously. We had no idea what we were doing.
I think I called it the black hole of my life.
Yeah, Liz and I decided to start family, and we had no backing and no bank support, no family support, no private equity, and we just cobbled it together. And it's worked out really well for us. And but there was a lot of lean years in there. There was a decade or two that it was pretty touch and go.
When you circle back to the students at SMU, which I know you do quite often, and you impart on them your story, your journey, the message of your education, your success in business, the lean years, right, come along with that. How much of where you are today would you attribute to that education you got pre-1982?
Well, I would tell you that because we both are geology majors and we spent all that time together, when we were in those lean years and we had to make really tough decisions, knowing that I understood everything that was happening in the business, the two of us could take the risks that need to be taken. And a school like SMU, which is a very entrepreneurial school, it becomes part of who you are. And having both of us understand the business together made it a lot easier for us to take those next steps in a very uncertain world and always know what our worst case scenario was.
So you left SMU feeling like they set you up to understand the ups and downs of entrepreneurship and how to overcome it. Let me ask you this. Did you recognize while you were, sometimes they say it's not until years later we recognize the value of the education we had. Did you recognize it as it was happening that you were being set up for success, or was it after you started your business that you began to call on that education and think, that was really the right place for us to be?
I mean, for me, I knew it while I was there. I was really lucky. I think we both were really lucky that when I went to SMU, I pretty much knew what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to go into the oil and gas business. I'd grown up in West Texas, and I had been around it. I'd seen a lot of really, really interesting people. And so when I went to SMU, I knew, that I wanted to get my geology degree, et cetera. So I loved the geology education. It was so much fun, and it was hard. And but we knew, at least I knew, that I wanted to get into this business. And so, in a way, that kind of really helped me out. From the standpoint of I knew what studies exactly to take, and et cetera, et cetera. I mean, our liberal arts education at SMU was spectacular. If I had to say my favorite courses, they were never geology courses.
Yeah, I would say that was a big impact. Being in a liberal arts school was something that really mattered to both
I
of
loved
us.
art history, for example. I just fell in love with economics. Go figure.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I remember taking JC and B, as we called it, Judaism, Christianity, and the Bible. They gave you one textbook, the Bible.
Yep.
So, and it was just as much as I love studying mineralogy or igneous and metamorphic petrology or stratigraphy, it was all that liberal arts education that really, really was, I think, really enhanced my life.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
I spent a semester in Japan.
Yeah, I had a liberal arts education as well, and I feel like you leave a liberal arts education. This is not to, dismiss the value of another type of education, but you leave sort of feeling like more of a worldly individual
Yes.
and feeling a more social responsibility. And I'm wondering if that's where you've circled back in such a meaningful way over the years to give back as you have. And when I look at what you've done, your contributions to SMU go beyond, well, we're interested in this, so we're going to give to this. There are buildings on that campus named for you that are residential and academic. You're giving to the sports department, Division I sports, because you believe that's an important component of Vision 2025, I know, which is part of this campaign. It's almost as if you're giving back in the way you were given. Does that make sense?
Well, the whole experience mattered to us. It wasn't just geology. It was everything. I mean, I was at those football games. I remember the day that we beat Texas in their stadium at homecoming. I was on the field with a lot of SMU students. So the whole experience and having sophomores back on campus, I mean, that was why it was so important to us to have that residential commons. It just, the whole experience, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity.
And it sounds like it's even more of that. It's like the SMU you experienced on steroids, really, in terms of the way they're able to recruit students of different backgrounds from
Oh,
different
you're
parts
totally
of the
right.
world.
I mean, they really, really encourage the interdisciplinary studies. I mean, now when you talk to these kids that go to SMU, they will say, I'm a music major and I'm studying, psychiatry and philanthropies or whatever. I mean, it's just like we didn't have that as much 40 years ago when we were there, although we both, loved, getting all that kind of
Multifaceted experience,
exactly. But I will point out that I think you're probably aware of it. I mean, SMU has students from all over the world.
Yes.
And all over the United States. And we made such great friends at SMU.
To this day, people you're in touch with.
And we were both not from Texas at the time. He was from Denver and I was from New Orleans. And so, being able to meet people from all over, including a lot of Texans.
And
was
build
just
a
great.
life and build a business and then give it back. So Brad Cheeves is here. I'm going to call him in on this, bring him in on this conversation, because Brad, when you hear their story, it really does reflect what the school is all about, right? In terms of the way in which they give back and the way in which they invest. Would you say your school, far and away compared to others, maybe has a return rate of alumni interest?
Well, we certainly have an incredible participation among our alumni base. And the leadership of our Board of Trustees, of which Bill serves and Liz serves on trustee committees, is an example of how you're a Mustang for life. Mm-hmm. And they came here from Colorado and Louisiana, and they have been Mustangs for life. And their children came here as well. And so that experience is what I think makes this a lifelong love affair. Mm-hmm. And it is not just in that one area. And as Bill and Liz both referred to the opportunities of students, it really is this ability to double and triple major and take in this incredible city that has all kinds of opportunities.
Yeah, that's getting more incredible. And I want you to speak one final word on the importance of outreach through Division I sports, the contributions that Liz and Bill have made to that specifically. As I said, their contributions to the campus are as diverse as the campus itself, but that in particular is an important part of this campaign.
That's exactly right. When you look at our priorities in the campaign, it's to enrich the great students that we want to attract, double down on what we can do for faculty and attract even greater faculty to a great faculty. And then our community partnerships, being Dallas's university. I think Bill and Liz can speak to what the strength of our Dallas Born and Raised campaign has been in Division I athletics, particularly in football, and what the Vision 2025 program has made possible for Coach Dykes, but it really affects the entire athletics outreach and department.
Yeah. Thank you, Liz.
It works.
Liz and Bill Armstrong, appreciate you being here.
Absolutely.
Right.
Thank you so much.
And thank you all for watching. We will see you next time on Forward DFW.